Hello, everyone, and thank you for stopping by. Can you imagine if there was a sci fi TV show that included time travel, dinosaurs, and was produced by Steven Spielberg? Imagine if there was a show that included all of those things. What could possibly go wrong? Well, apparently, a lot. In September 26, 2011, the TV show Terra Nova released. The show follows the Shannon family, which are living in the year 2149. In the year 2149, the Earth is dying and there's not enough oxygen in the atmosphere to sustain life anymore. Humans cannot exist outside of their homes without having rebreathers because the oxygen is so bad. Another issue that the world is having is overpopulation. And one of the things that they do to counteract this is families are only allowed to have two children. Though they have all of these issues, humanity is given one last hope. There is a time rip that is discovered that is able to take people back 85 million years ago. To give humanity another chance, colonists are selected, and only 100 are selected every year and sent back in pilgrimages. Colonists are selected in two different ways. They either win the lottery in order to be chosen to go, or they are selected because of their unique skills. Anyways, I'm not going to go too much into the plot. I will throw in the 1 minute trailer that they had for this video just in case you're interested, just to give you kind of more of an idea what the story is about.
The eyes of the world are on Hope Plaza today, as the 10th pilgrimage prepares to depart for Terra Nova.
I won't go without Dad. Go with your brother. He will find a way.
The world you left behind fell victim to greed, war. Welcome to Terra Nova, folks. Welcome home.
We're starting over as a family.
Our son is out there!
Bring him back.
I will.
Welcome to paradise.
So yeah, this show was pretty good when it first came out. I remember watching it after the first season had already finished up, and I was expecting a second season, but it was canceled. I had pretty much forgotten about this show until recently. I was looking for something to watch, and I was scrolling through Amazon Prime, and I came across the TV show, and I decided to rewatch it. And then just afterwards, it just kind of ends on a, let's just say it has a huge cliffhanger that it leaves you on that never gets resolved. And I think as humans, we can all agree that something being left on a cliffhanger and never getting resolved can be the most frustrating thing in the entire world. But I started doing some research trying to figure out what went wrong and what happened and why this show got canceled, because I remember it being super good. And I rewatched it, and there's a couple of times where the CGI is janky, and maybe the characters kind of have some weird poor acting. But let's be honest here, it's a dinosaur TV show. You can't expect them to have amazing CGI. And maybe that would have gotten a lot better if the show had gone on, and if it was still running today, for example, it might have a lot better graphics and the CGI would be so much better and whatnot. But we'll never know now, just because it had really bad ratings and the production costs were super high. So I don't want this to come off wrong, but I think something that I've kind of noticed with movies over the last few years is that a lot of times cancel culture is like a real thing. Like, there's been some really good movies that I've enjoyed that have been canceled and not had a sequel just because people went after it for stupid reasons, and it really doesn't make any sense to me. Lately, movies have had this trend of just kind of being bad and not really exploring or expanding. And I mean, Disney's kind of an exception to this, but there's not been a lot of TV shows that have had massive budgets. And there's a lot of times where like a lot of viewers will give the show like really bad credit, even though it's like a decent TV show. Like, there's not very many good season one TV shows that are really good season one. And I think a lot of people just ignore this fact, and they kind of expect to have like a show like Game of Thrones, like maybe I'm not going to mention Game of Thrones season 8, but like, how the season 6, 7, they had these massive battles that were awesome. But then like the season 1, they didn't really have any battles at all. And we just don't care about that for some reason, but we care about other TV shows don't have very good scenes because they're just starting out. I'm not saying that Terra Nova was bad or anything like that at all, but there was a couple of times where like Game of Thrones season 1 where they had jump cuts that cut out something that was really cool just because they didn't have the budget for it. As well as what I said before that some of the CGI was kind of janky and maybe not the best, but you know, a lot of producers will put out season 1 just to see how it'll go before they really put a ton too much effort into it. But I am going to kind of contradict myself here because this TV show actually had like a massive budget compared to other shows. Though I will say on top of that, that they did have some scenes that were just beautiful CGI, and I think that they did really well. It was mostly the scenes where there's like dinosaurs chasing people down. It was just kind of a little bit janky, but this scene, like the one that's like in the background right now, like that I have a picture of, like that scene was actually really beautiful. But I also just wanted to give you an idea what the budget of this show was. So the budget for it was $20 million for the pilot and $4 million per episode after that. And that may not seem like a ton of money for a TV show, considering when you think of like Endgame, the budget for that was like 200 to $300 million somewhere. So from going on from here, this is going to be mostly my opinion, but I feel like that the show was actually really amazing. And I think the high budget is what made it so amazing because they had like custom weapons. They had a bunch of cool weapons and armor. They had a whole set for the city of Terra Nova. And unfortunately, I think that because the budget was so high that the ratings were too low, the budget was too high, and the show ended up having to be canceled. And I think a big thing with it was even though they had a huge budget, CGI was super expensive, especially back then. And when you mix the fact that they added all this like awesome stuff and they had an amazing like set for the city and all that stuff, it was an amazing show, but they just couldn't keep up with the budget, especially when they released it and a lot of the viewers gave it poor ratings. It only had a 2.6 out of 10, which is like truly baffling to me because it was a really good TV show. The story was interesting, it was intriguing, it pulled you in, you really cared about the characters, and you have the fact that people will just watch anything just because there's dinosaurs in it. I don't know. I really truly wish I could talk to somebody that hated the show and just really find out why they hated the show so much, because like I rewatched it even now and it still holds up. Like we see movies that come out today that have even worse CGI, like stories that aren't great and whatnot, and just I don't know. The CGI really kind of holds up. I know it's not the best, but it's still not bad. And like I said, the story was interesting and the characters were well written. Like they each had their own like little dynamic story that was going on, except for they had like the young little girl that was always just kind of there. But like everybody had their own little backstories going on, and it really flowed really well in my opinion. Anyways, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to end my rant about that there, and we're going to kind of look into like what happened afterwards and, you know, more stuff like that. So a year after the show was canceled, fans of the show were given hope when Netflix was considering buying the TV show's rights. So I've read a bunch of articles about this subject, and a lot of them like don't agree on what happened exactly here. But what it seems like is Netflix was interested and they looked at it, thought about it, and then they decided it was too much money because the set had already been torn down. But some articles say that Netflix did buy the rights for it, then decided not to make a new TV show with it. And both articles agree that Netflix was going to get rid of the whole cast and just start over new with a smaller budget. But even though I can't come down to the exact thing that happened, we do know Netflix was interested, but then passed on the opportunity. And what I think happened is they did pay for the rights a little bit or whatever to be able to play it on Netflix, and it was on there for a while, but it has been removed. So I don't know if their contract or whatever ended. But if you do want to watch the show, it is on Amazon Prime right now. But do get ready. It is sad because it ends on a cliffhanger that will never probably be resolved. All right, so we're going to move into the last section of this video that I wanted to go over. I was curious and I was looking up online to see if there was any like script releases or anything that we knew of what season 2 was going to be about. And I did find something, but I'm going to warn you, the website is called terranovafandom.com/wiki. So it is a wiki. So take everything about this with a grain of salt. It might not actually be true, and I don't see a physical script to talking about it. But I will read what it does say in that wiki. So the wiki says, even though Terra Nova was canceled in March 2012, the show's executive producer, Brannon Braga, revealed plot points for the planned second season. Braga told in an interview that the show's writing team had already outlined a season 2 Bible prior to the show being dropped. It revealed that there would be intelligent dinosaurs on the Badlands and that the Phoenix group that went there would be massacred by those creatures. The show would also have gone in a darker direction with Taylor starting to go crazy and Jim Shannon having to step up into a leadership position. The main source of conflict would be between Taylor and Jim Shannon and the battle for control for the colony and how to deal with these new dangers. Stephen Lang, who portrayed Taylor, and this is the same guy who plays the Colonel in Avatar that's kind of like a badass, just for some side background, said the show was going in a darker direction given the last episodes of season 1. He added that they were about to explore the Badlands, which he anticipated scenes with a lot of rock and sand and heat. He felt the show took a long time to find its tone throughout season 1, which led to its cancellation. They had very interesting plans for my character. I know that there was a touch of madness on the table. I was looking forward to going that direction. So I'll admit that after reading that, I was wondering how crazy the next season was going to get going. And when they talk about dinosaurs that are like a special breed intelligent, I just kind of thought of Turok Evolution, where they have like these like lizard people that you're fighting and they're kind of like humanoids, but they're lizards. I just thought I'd mention that because I thought it was kind of funny, but I feel like with that plot point that it was going for, I feel like it could have been really good, but it also could have gone south pretty quick. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of how that plot would have gone, and if you think they should have moved forward with the second season, and if you think that that would have been a good idea and a good show. Anyways, I'm going to end this video off here. Let me know if I should go over any other movies or TV shows that ended abruptly that you think that need to be discussed, and if you want me to look into. This was kind of a fun video to do. So if you know of any shows like this that were just amazing but ended on season 1, let me know and I'll go over it, and then I'll make a video discussing what went wrong and do some research and see what happened. But anyways, be sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't. We will see you guys next time. Thank you.